Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Goo 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 goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Put your hands together, you filthy mortars, for our very own resident piano-playing monkey, Myro the monkey. If you have any honor, you would tip the monkey. You will place some monetary value things in his bowl. For I do not feed him, nor do I clothe him, nor do I accommodate him. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo goo. Strap those keys, you filthy monkey. Painting goo. Goo 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 goo. Painting goo. Goo 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 goo. Yes! Give it up for Myro the monkey! Beautiful intro to a beautiful streamu. Today, on this fine Thursday? Is it Thursday? Is it Thursday today? What day is it? I am unaware of it is. Being a deity, even a demi-deity, I am still getting used to your concepts of naming days and time was not a thing in heaven, and now I have to adjust to all this shit, including shitting. Didn't have to shit when I was a god. Now being a demigod, occasionally I must produce some waste, and the first time it happened I was horrified. I can't believe that you humans do this shit. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, my beloved Japanites and or you other filthy mortars. Excuse me while I descend into proper painting goo posture. Where's the thing? Where's my reaver? Glorious. Right, my top notch is now gloriously on display. Okay, Desmondu, aka Demon Hunter Beru, Starberu, aka Surrey Derberu, and Corberu, who's just Corberu. Koru, I don't know. Resident Sruthu, I don't know. We could call you Sruthu. We could call you occasional research bitchu. All females have to, here on PEINTEINGU, all the females must be aware that when I use the term bitch, it is a term of endearment. For these are my bitches. Really, these are my bitches. My brushes are my bitches. That's how this pimp gets his shit done. So, if you're a female and I call you a bitch, it's probably because I like you. And if you get offended, even after me explaining it, you're probably actually a bitch. There's another word that means many things. Bitch, female dog, bitch, female human who's like, being annoying or rude or like not nice or some shit. And then bitch as in coward, as in pussy. So many words, so little time. Yes, I suppose it is morning for you guys, isn't it? Where is everybody? I know Stabaroo is Canadian fuck. Demon Hunter Bear is like, I think in like where is it? You're on the East Coast. Was there Vermont or something? I can't remember. Core Bear, where are you? I want to know times. I want to know temperatures. I want to know basic relative scenery. Desert, mountainous, grassy, hilly, flat plains. Do you happen to live near Area 51 or some shit? We rove our beaches, indeed. Not to be confused with beaches. You can't confuse beaches with beaches. Biatches. I seriously would feel bad for being a foreigner trying to fucking I feel bad for foreigners who try to learn how to speak English. So many fucking different words for everything. Max Darnboo! Hello! And welcome to PEINTEINGU. Oh my god, it's 7 a.m. there. I really do have a early morning American radio channel. How funny is that shit? I'm like your fucking morning radio. How fucking funny is that? 8 minutes past 7 a.m. California, and that painting is looking awesome. Well, thank you, Maxed Out Barrow. Domo arigato for your awesome commento. This is Kasher Lichtenstein. We are in Lichtenstein, Germany. The PEINTEINGU boat has landed off the coast of Europe and made our way inland. We have gathered our posse and adventured into the Randrocked region of Lichtenstein, where we have happened upon Lichtenstein Castle. Kasser. There's another one that's ridiculously hard to say in Japu. Kasser. Castre. That's a nice castre. Yep, I'd be a northeastern Yankee. Maine, just like Vermont, but with trash issues and without decent forestry. Jesus. You see that fucking, you see that shit about, was it LA? Or was it Detroit? I think it was Detroit. Where, there's literally just, whole gaps between houses just, full of rubbish and shit. I think I mentioned this the other day briefly. But I've seen another image there where, it's, more and more people are going on about it on YouTube or something. And, fuck me. That's a lot of rubbish, And, the type of people that would just let that pile up and all. Would you not get a few boys together and order a skip or, I don't know, fucking light it all on fire or some shit, Maine's beaches and mountains are quite rivery, though. That's awesome being able to have the combination of mountains and beaches. So you've coastal regions and really high altitude terrain as well, because we've hills here, I'm pretty sure they're called mountains in Ireland. The Galtee Mountains is fucking, they're not mountains, they're fucking hills, they're big hills. And you can see them from my back garden and a few places around Tipperary where I'm living at the moment. And I think it's funny that you have all this raised terrain here, but Tipperary is pretty much landlocked. We don't have a coastline, which is actually one of the things that annoys the female. The female is always like, I want to go for a swim. I want to be near a beach, you know, which I'm partial to as well. Um, but like I've said before on stream, like for the same reason why I wouldn't just stroll into a jungle. I'm not fond of swimming in the sea, you know. Like I will, do you know what I mean? But like it depends on where you are and shit like that. Like I wouldn't be one to just like, especially not on my own. I know not a lot of people do that, but like some hardcore surfers do. I'm just very like I'm very cautious of the water and shit, especially depending on where you are. Like, you know, last thing you want is like you're just like on holiday treading water on a beach in a fucking man of war, fucking like, or like or a tiger shark or any, there's so many of them. Like it's not just like everybody just thinks like, oh, sharks. Like, you know, it's not just that. Like you can stand on shit, shit can like crawl inside you, shit can fucking. There could be just something in the water, like, you know, especially in places like Florida and shit like that the last few years. Like, do you guys remember that algae bloom? Do you guys know what I'm on about? Like, a few years ago, there was an algae... that's what they said it was, anyway. It was one of the maddest things I ever seen on the internet that was, like, happening. You know, just, like in world news or some shit like that. Like, it was crazy to witness. Absolutely crazy to witness. You had like manatees like suffocating because the water was so dense. The water wasn't water anymore. It was just like, just this thick gelatinous mass now, and it was mad. Like, and like a lot of these people were like, "Oh yeah, all the fish are dying. All this is happening," and blah blah. Like, and they said that like it's something that happens, but it's never happened this bad, you know, and stuff like that. Like. I'm convinced that like a lot of this environmental shit is a result of the like imbalance that like, you know, massive corporations end up causing. Because that's usually how that shit goes. Is like you have all these people who will like, you know, oh well, we could stop that or prevent this or change this or fix this, like, and then they go about it with like their science in quotes or whatever, and then they may like stem the tide of something or like temporarily alleviate, you know, some kind of like natural phenomenon or like a problem or some shit, like, but it usually inevitably they end up causing an imbalance in the local ecosystem, and then something like there's like a massive die-off, or like now they have to fucking be concerned about the new side effects of, you know, the consequences of what they try to do and shit. Like, it's fucking with nature is not a good idea, you know. There's a reason shit happens, you know. That's what I think. Like, I think what probably has happened like many times throughout history is humans, or at least whatever we were before, because everything's changed, you know, if some of the stuff is to be believed, I think we were aware of the grand cycles and we just knew when to move, you know. We just all would be like, you know, oh, it's gonna get too cold here now, oh, it's gonna get too hot here now, oh, the water's gonna fucking rise now, or something like, or anything like, and you just be like, okay, time to leave, and we just pack up and move, you know. Griffu, haru, and welcome to PEINTEINGU. Sip sip. Oh god. I had like 15 more. It was 15 minutes to 3. It was quarter to 3, right? Or like 16 minutes or something like. And I was doing some work on the new symmetrical design that I'm doing. I was tracing it and flipping it and stuff. I think I started around 1 or some shit like that, like. And I was just catching up on Owen and listening to him while doing a bit of work. And then the next thing I know, it's fucking quarter to 3. Like, I just happened to look at my phone. I was like, oh fuck, I have to do PEINTEINGU in like 15 minutes. like quickly, it was just like, right, fucking cup of coffee, right, bring the cable in, fucking put it in, make sure everything's right, and then I had to like, you know, pull the map out and shit. Like, if they like slightly rearrange my room to be able to do the stream, like, you know. Eventually it will be awesome, like when I have like, I'll just have like PEINTEINGU set up ready to go at any time, and then I'll have, which I kind of do at the moment, like, you know, I kind of have my desk set up in a way that I can work here and do my stuff, my day-to-day stuff, my normal stuff. Apologies, I slapped him on the nose by accident. And then when I'm doing PEINTEINGU, it's in the corner of the room here on the desk and all. But I always feel very oppressed and like, you know, like I'm squashed in this little corner because of the fucking angle in the roof and everything and all. Like there's definitely an advantage to having everything close at hand, and I can do everything, you know, I can just reach for stuff. But I think I would definitely prefer to be standing, and I probably will end up having like a mic that I just hold or some shit, or I'll get one of those, like I'll get an expensive mic that I can put on my collar or some shit, like I don't know. And then I'll probably have to change the audio settings there, or the audio setup or general, like. But I would prefer to be standing and painting on like a much larger canvas and stuff like that, like, and be able to zoom in for you guys so you can see what I'm doing or some shit. Like I want it to be a proper like show, you know. Like eventually, like years from now, like if it went like the way I would like it to go, like I would be making enough money to like employ people to actually puppet the characters. Like I'd have somebody puppeting a giant crow puppet that smokes and hits the gong. I'd have somebody or just one person who like switches between them, you know. But I'd want them to be like actually like you know, live in the moment things where I could turn around and go, Tobias, ring the gong, and like it happens, you know, because somebody does it or some shit. Like, and I've tried to think of ways that I could do it myself, but it would be far too elaborate with like, you know, mechanisms that I have to set up, or like certain things that, you know what I mean? Like even if it was very analog, it would become too much of a, because it's already like a bit of a fucking, I'm inundated, you know, I'm literally surrounded by everything that is painting goo. Like Garlos is over there, the fucking, I've got the monkey in the corner here with the monkey mic, I got the lads behind me with the map and the gun, I've got my phone behind the canvas in case anything comes through and so on and so forth. Like I'm literally like in a painting goo zone right now, and I kind of like it, but it could be better. There's always improvements to be made. And there's one thing I do appreciate about my little commie state: they do put much effort in preserving nature. Yeah, man, you gotta respect nature. You gotta respect nature, you know. Just because we are like seemingly apart from animals in a way because of our elevated amount of consciousness or some shit, like, doesn't mean that we don't, you know, we share this place with them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I seriously do, for lots of reasons, think that we were made and left here. You know, it kind of feels like that and looks like that in a lot of ways, where it's kind of like, okay, now you're allowed, like you're in charge, right? We're leaving you in charge, and we're going to be back in like 2,500 years. So don't forget, don't fuck it up, and like, you know, we're trusting you with this. You know, be a good homunculus. And they fuck off, and then the people in charge are like, all right, well, the cat's away, the mice will play. You know, like, it's so believable if you just know, like, if you take into account human nature and stuff, like, you know, like at the time there would have been people who were like, yes, my lord, it is such an honor to be left in charge, you know, to be given dominion over this absolutely like fantastic, beautiful realm. And then they leave, and they're gone like 3 days or so. They can be gone like 5 minutes. That you can still see them. They're like on the horizon, and there's people like looking at each other, elbowing each other, being like, "Come on, let's start fucking the goats or something." Like, you know, like just people who just are just mental, like, you know, you just want to fuck with things and destroy things and all. Like, when I was catching up on Owen's stream earlier on, he said something where he's like, you know, when he's talking about the libertarians and stuff, where he's like, when you're younger, and it's so true, like, you know, where it's like, when you're younger, you have so much like natural empathy, and you're innocent and shit for the most part, like, so you think, you know, like, no, like, you know, your average person's just good. Most people are just good, you know, and if you leave them alone, they'll just do good things. And that's simply not the case, unfortunately, you know. Even in like a seemingly utopia-esque place where like everybody's good and productive and gets along and all this shit, there's always gonna be almost especially in a place like that, I think one of the things that, like, you know, with the whole Satan getting, or Lucifer or whatever, getting kicked out of heaven, it's like that almost like had to occur. Do you know what I mean? Because this harkens back to what I was talking about, like the concept of perfection. I'm like, what is perfection? Because like, you could argue that loads of things in nature are like perfect because they just like if they were slightly different, they wouldn't work the way they work or whatever. Like, but if they were slightly different, then they'd work a different way. Like, you know, and so if you then apply the same slight difference to everything in the realm, then would you not still have a functioning realm, but it'd just be different? I don't know. But like, how can you describe perfection other than just like appealing to some kind of like divinity or some shit? Because like, even the world, even the realm that we observe, it's not that it's perfect. It just has properties, you know? And like, in a sense, is it not arrogant to like claim that we could recognize perfection? You know? Like, us as humans have the capacity to see something that is actually perfect and then go, oh, look, it's perfect. Like, I know we say it like colloquially and like, you know, in a grammatical sense. We don't actually mean what the literal interpretation of perfection is, like, you know. But if you're to take it literally, like, it's almost like it's never been witnessed. It's like communism, you know, like true communism has never been witnessed. Because every time somebody attempts communism, it fucking eats itself like a demon snake. Balance. Yeah, like I am big into the whole harmony and balance theory, where it's like you can't have one without the other, and that's essentially how all this works, you know? So like when you bring in free will to the game, it's fascinating because it's like, even if the majority of people chose to be negative, that would almost ensure that there would still be a minority of positive. Because you wouldn't be... It's like what I've said before about, like, you know, one day I think we might actually see some Judge Dredd-style megacities and stuff like that. But because of the nature of how this, like, synthetic ideology, this synthetic behavior and way of living works, an inevitable consequence of that is their ability to parasitically exist off of organic material and naturally occurring materials. Everything from mining stuff from the ground to, you know, 0 point energy even out of the atmosphere, and then like actual like stuff that you can get from creatures, like everything from like ambergris from whales to like stem cells from human beings and stuff, like, you know, all this shit. It's all just resources, you know, in a secular sense, in a utilitarian sense. And what I see happening, that you'd get all of these scientismos is like, oh well, you can just, if you're really good at science and you're really intelligent, you can just create an alternative. That to me is like ultimately satanic. Because like, sure, you could argue you're creating something, but I don't think we actually create anything here. I think everything is like pre-created, and we just use like what has been created to technically create something new by combining the materials that we have here already. But like, if you got literal about it, we don't actually create anything, we just manipulate shit. So it's like, on a level you could call us all Satanists, you know, or like demonic in a sense, because like, we don't make rock. We make iron and we make steel, but that's from rock or iron ore. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's there already. We just use it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't draw stuff. I use a pencil. A pencil isn't a creation. Like, it's a design. It is a creation in a sense. You know, I'm not like fucking retarded, but you get where I'm coming from. Where it's like, it's just a combination of raw materials that already existed, and we just like brought them together in a new form, in a specific like capsulation of time. Do you know what I mean? It's like that bit of wood and this bit of lead or graphite or whatever, and that paint and shit. It's like it all came from somewhere else. Like, just like that's what makes me think about the human soul, like the source and shit like that. Where it's like there has to be there has to be a prerequisite state. There has to be like, you know, like, where'd you get it from, you know, kind of thing. Defenderoo gets it. I think I do, yeah. Like, but like, I'm always like, not only am I always like second guessing myself, I'm always like, Because the last thing I want to be, like, is, like, delusional or, like, arrogant or, like, genuinely think I'm, like, you know, better than, like, other people. Like, literally and, like, tangibly, you know, anybody can be better than other people in a given situation. You know, some people are better at chess, some people are better at fucking stripping paint off of walls. Like, the list goes on. But you know what I mean, of that, like, air of superiority just in general, where it's like, oh, I'm better than you because I'm a Catholic. I'm better than you because I'm a Muslim. I'm better than you because I'm going to heaven and you're not. And all this fucking shit. Like, I don't think I'm better than any other person holistically. But I'm definitely better at a lot of people. I'm definitely better than a lot of people at this stuff. But then there's people who are better at this stuff than me. You know, like, it's a fractal thing, like, you know. And I think it's so funny how just, like, it's so obvious that ego is the source of so many, like, potential, like, wars, even. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, think about how many times we've had catastrophic loss of life that you could probably tie the source of the events to just two dudes, like, disagreeing about something, or like a jilted lover, you know. Like, if you were a guy and you were in charge of an army and then some foreigner fucks your missus, do you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I'd just kill the bitch and find a new bitch. You know, like, that's how I do it. I'm not one of these guys that's like, you motherfucker, you fucked my wife. It's like, no, your wife let him fuck her, so your wife is the one to blame. You know, not that. The way I always see it is, like, if you were that nigga, you probably would have fucked her too. Do you know what I mean? Like, if some king's wife is like, take me now, you know, like, you'd be like, bitch, fair. Like, I haven't fucked a queen before, you know, like, and this isn't my land. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, you know, like Paris from Troy. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I love you, yeah, see you later, you know. And then Agamemnon is like, yeah, like, that's his shit. And then all those people die just because fucking, you know, Helen couldn't keep her knickers on. Like, you know, oh god, his hair is so fucking curly. Do you know, it's like how many times does shit like that happen? Like when you look at, like, Japanese history and fucking, like, Chinese history and, like, anyone's history, there's always, like, some mad story of, like, you know, a whole load of people died in, like, a battle or a war, like, whatever the scale, but because of some bullshit, you know, just because of some bullshit. Somebody stole bread, and then, like, whoever doled out the fucking punishment for stealing the bread was way over the top, and they, like, killed him for stealing bread, and everyone else is like, you shouldn't be killing people for stealing bread. The only reason he stole the bread was to feed his kids, and the only reason he can't feed his kids is because of this, you know. Like, so you have all the people who are actually in this situation who, like, dynamically react to, like, one thing happening, and then within 6 months there's, like, a fucking civil war. It's mad shit. Like, I'd say that's why they do all this stuff now. Like, I'd say that's why all this shit now is, like, fabricated. Like, fights are rigged, wars are faked for the most part. Like, do you know what I mean? Yes, there's still death and bombs and stuff, but a lot of it's just, like, logistics and waiting around and bureaucracy and people saying stuff, and then things done in a frame, you know. Like, yes, like I said, people still die. Like, you know, things still get blown up. People still, like, politicians and ambassadors still get, you know, assassinated and poisoned, and all this stuff still happens. But it's, like, not how you think it does, you know? Like, I was watching this video yesterday from your man, was it Serpenza or Serpentanza or some shit? Surrey Delta Bear knows who I'm on about. He covers China. He used to live in China, and he's from South Africa. So he's talked a lot about, like, the mad shit going on in Africa and the mad shit going on in China, and now he lives in America. And he just did a video where he was like, all the stuff that the media is showing about what's going on in America, it's the minority. It's this big. You're not going out. It's the same here. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you're in Dublin, Cork, if you're in the major cities, if you actually live in a city anywhere in the world right now, west or east, if you live in a city, you're probably going to experience the mad shit that's going on in the internet to some degree. But even then, it's still kind of, it's not a lot. It's not like, you know, the majority of shit happening. It's like a minority. And then when you go into the suburban or rural areas, it's non-existent. You know? So a lot of that, like, a lot of this tranny shit and all this fucking, like, you know, people, you know, kids getting their dicks cut off and the hormone blockers and all this fucking shit, like, it's made out to be more prevalent and more pervasive than it actually is. But that doesn't mean that it isn't, like, extremely fucked up. But the reason why they inflate it is to make you think that they're winning. You know? That's what it's supposed to... That's the purpose. Is to make you watch one of those videos and you get, like, really pissed off. You know? I'm taking my kid out of school and all this fucking shit. Like, you know, fucking... Granted, like, if I had kids the last few years, I would have taken them out of school, or they would have been in school very little. But it's like, it really is just a game of chess. You know, there's a lot of bluffing going on the last few years, decades even, like on a global scale, where it's like countries, like whole fucking cultures and nations are like fucking with each other. You know, in it, like, and it's, some of it is desperation, some of it is ideological, you know. And I still say that's I think that's the worst kind. Like, now, I might change my mind, like, you know, because I do understand where people are coming from, that, like, people who are secular, because they don't have an idea of God or faith, tend to be, like, more dangerous or something. But, like, oh, Christ, Geppo. From my personal experience and from what I've seen, I think religion and ideology and belief, because it is so powerful, because it is so life-changing, like, if you don't have it and then you do have it and all this stuff. Like, I didn't have it for a while, and now I have it the last few years, and it has completely altered my life. Just that switch in mindset of, like, you know, instead of like, oh, the world is fucked, blaming the government, like, and all this shit, to it's all fair, God is real, doesn't matter what God you believe in, like, do you know what I mean? It's just like, there is a divine, supernatural force to this place. There is a magic to this place, and there's rules, and it's fair, you know, and you really do get out of life what you put in and shit. It's a drastic difference. And it's just like sex and porn. It's like, if something is really powerful in the positive, you can be damn sure it's really powerful in the negative. You know? It's almost like, it's almost like ensured to be like that. Like, it just makes sense logically, like, or physically, even on a physics level, like. And that's what I see with religion, is like, it can be like so wholesome, and it can like bring people together, and it can like make people feel like, you know, it can cure cancer. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, essentially the placebo effect, where people are just like, no, God will get me through this, like, you know, and they don't take any medicine and they survive. You could argue whether is that faith, is it placebo, I don't fucking know, but like, that does happen, where like people just like have faith and they just get through shit, versus, like, you know, not having faith and being nihilistic and stuff like that, like, and then relying on like what you deem to be just like the binary of like reality, of just like, no, it's black and white, it's ones and zeros, it's like yes or no, like, when that's not the reality. The reality of reality is the gray, you know. The gray is the reality, like, because we live in the in-between. Do you know what I mean? We don't live in all good or all bad or all light or all dark or all up or all down or all left or all right. We live in the gray. So, like, to constantly just try and pick a side is stupid to me. Like, do you know what I mean? Well, I'm one of these, you know, in a sense, like to a point. Like, I get, like, I know the first argument that, like, if whoever's listening to this is like, yeah, but you say that you're on the side of light or righteousness or whatever against the demons and stuff. It's like, yeah, when it gets to the meta level, you kind of do just have to pick a side, because you can't exist in the boat. You can't exist. There's no, like, there comes a point where there isn't a gray area. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how reality and existence and life works, is like context. You know, it's like, in this position, yes, we live in the grey. But I think that's because of our like limited understanding and limited perception of things, and like this straight up like fucking lying and deception that we do to each other, or that gets done to us from an outside force or some shit like that. Like, but like once you get to a certain level, things will just be like positive and negative, you know. And I think that's what that is. I think what happens cosmically is like there is just positive and there is just negative, and there are very strict rules, and then what they do and how they conflict and like how they interact has a massive effect and like, you know, a consequence of like what happens down here. And then conversely, what we do down here fuels what happens up there, you know. Like, I genuinely do believe that if like nobody had any faith or goodwill, that like the forces of light wouldn't have any power, because they wouldn't have a source. They wouldn't have a source of power, you know. Same with the dark. It's like if nobody like burns babies, and if nobody has a, you know, a single sinful thought in their mind or whatever, then like where's the dark gonna draw its power from, you know? Now one could argue that light and dark are not just from us, they are natural, you know, so they'd get it from just like the primordial existence of light and dark itself. Like, I don't know, like, but now this is rambling. Like, I'm fucking like going off into like cosmic tangents of like, well, let's speculate about the wars in heaven. Corbett, I'm going against my own protocol by accepting a follow from any IG account with no posts, but I just accept. That's hilarious. Something interesting happened to me yesterday. A guy I grew up with, who I haven't spoken to in years, started following me on Instagram, and he has like, you know, I haven't seen him in a few years. I haven't spoken to him or seen him or heard of him in a few years. Like, and I seen his picture, and like, he's got no posts. He's just got like, he's just on Instagram for the social aspect of it, I suppose. No posts, and I just seen that it was like blah 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 started following you, and I was like, no fucking way, because you know the way Owen was like, oh, we're setting little event challenges for, you know, get back in touch with somebody you haven't spoken to in years, and then that person, it's not that he got in touch with me, but like, you know, you just see it on your phone, you're like, blah blah started following you, and it was like, that's a bit weird. So part of me was like, should I send him a message and, you know, be like, here, what's the crack, how's things, or whatever, like, but I don't know, like, I kind of like, I'm in that stage of my life where like a few years ago I cut a lot of people out, and like have been really working on myself, and now I got the feeling a while ago, maybe a year ago, that there was gonna there was gonna come a time fairly soon where one or two of them would come back in, and lo and behold, here we go. Like, and I'm not sure what to do yet, because part of me wants to like start, you know, catch up and, you know, fucking regularly talk and stuff like that. And then the other part of me is like, no, that part of my life is over now. You know, like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I seek genuine progress, like genuinely moving on from things and growing and shit like that. Like, and I've done a lot of it, so like, there probably isn't much harm, if any, to like start re-interacting with certain things and stuff like that. But like, it was an interesting event yesterday where I seen that on my phone. I was like, no fucking way, this fella. And like, it's someone I've known for like my whole life, basically. Like, you know, I grew up with that fucker. I was 3 and he was 6 or something, and we grew up on the same road, and we were friends till like well into our mid-20s. Alrightaroo, welcome to Paintingu. Breath of life is spirit. Gift of life from the Father. Gunny from FMJ got it. Full Metal. I have to watch Full Metal Jacket. There's so many movies that I have to watch to like click into like cultural things from like 10 or 20 years before me. like Clockwork Orange, Full Metal Jacket, Deliverance, 2001 Space Odyssey, 1984. There's so many things that, like, you know, all these truthers or all these like cultural people who are interested in the culture war and stuff like that. Like, I was never interested in any of that shit. Like, you know, I was never like what I wanted my life to be was like, I just wanted to have fun and I wanted to make shit that I thought was cool and like get paid for it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't really like care, nor do I still, about a lot of like what other people care about. Do you know what I mean? I was always like, looking at other people being like, why do you care so much about that shit? You know, like, since a young age, I had this aspect of me that was quite like aloof and etheric, where like I was still quite materialistic. Like, I loved my toys and stuff like that. So in that sense, I was quite similar to most people around me. But I didn't give a fuck about, like, you know, sports and stuff. Like, you know, people have got, like, the fucking English fans that kill each other over, like, who lost the match that day. Like, and I always just used to look at shit like that and be like, that's retarded. Like, that's something an animal would do. And we're not animals. So why are you doing that? You know, like, but then there's some behaviors that I engage in that you could easily argue, like, not even argue, you could easily point out are like animalistic behaviors. Like, you know, granted, I was like a toddler when I did those things, but like, you know, like I'd have a knife or something sharp and I just start like wrecking the furniture in the kitchen or something, like a fucking new puppy or some shit, like mad stuff, like. And like, I stole stuff and all when I was a kid. You know, like, I'd like look around and I'd just be like, nobody's gonna notice this is gone, and I really want it. Like, but then you learn. You like, it's like putting your hand in a fire. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. Like how I know I'm not a bad person. Like, in my heart of hearts, my source. I don't know if all of our sparks are actually good, or if like we're predestined to be one or the other. I tend to think that, you know, that's the purpose of free will, is you actually choose whether you believe it or not, whether you think it in the moment or not. Like, you do, on a fundamental level, choose to be good or evil. And but I think I have a predisposition to being good, because anytime I did anything bad, I felt like shit. I just felt horrible. Like, and now, like, the last like 5 or 7 odd years, I feel good most of the time. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I just like make stuff. I try to eat right, you know, work out regularly, try to have a good relationship with my woman. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just like, Owen's so right about the porn thing. Like, the more, anytime I retrospectively think about, like, you know, how far I've come in the past couple of years and why and what's like steps I took or whatever like that, not watching porn regularly is like the biggest thing. It is mind destroying, that stuff. Having your mind and your nervous system and shit like that, like sexual, like, not even sexual. Like, from my experience, porn desexualized me in a weird way, where like it like numbed me. Do you know what I mean? Which is just horrible, like, because you should just look at your woman and like your dick should wiggle. Do you know what I mean? Even a little bit, you know, like, and she could be like fully clothed, not doing anything sexual whatsoever. You should just be able to look at the feminine form. Within, you know, reason. Obviously, you don't want to be able to just like look at this like whale and be like, oh my god, she's so beautiful. You know, like, I don't think that's a good thing. Like, I know there's people out there that be like, oh, that's so sweet. The two of them are horrific looking, and they really love each other. Like, you know, like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, ugly people need to find people too, but like, I don't think it's a good thing, because I think beauty is objective, not subjective. Do you know what I mean? I think beauty and like, beauty to me is essentially the same as accuracy in a way, like, you know. And I don't think that calling something like it's not. It's objectively a bad thing to look at something that is objectively ugly and go, "Oh my god, it's beautiful." It's like, what are you lying for? You know what I mean? But there's tons of people out there, especially women, that would look at a guy who looks at his horrific mess of a female and is like, "I just love her so much. She's so beautiful. She's everything to me." And I look at that guy and I'm like, "You delusional faggot! Like, sort your life out." Like, and a lot of people would call me a dickhead for that, but like, I don't care. I know I'm right. You are equally worthless. That is very sweet of you. I am legit just a nice woman. I've been crazy in the past, but will know right away if I've lost my mind, and I always find it after several weeks. Yeah, like I've said this before. I have a big feminine side to me. I have a lot of feminine energy, and I think it's what makes me like artistic. Because I elicit that kind of personality trait as well sometimes, where like I have a bit of the, like, just the twitch, or I'm like occasionally I kind of have a man period where like once a month I kind of just want to go fucking insane. Like, I want to be a fucking werewolf or a vampire and kill shit and not care, you know. But like, I think that's like probably just a human thing, you know. Like, I think you could describe that as just like your primal urges. And I'm probably genetically and like ancestrally predispositioned, because like if you just take a look at me and then you're like, then I'm Irish and all, I'm probably descended from like dudes who got off a boat with an axe and like killed people and raped people and shit, and like went home to his wife and children. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if like my great grandfather or some shit was a 6'5", red-haired, blue paint-covered berserker who got off a boat, like, not even got off, who kissed his wife and children goodbye, and then got on a boat, and then went somewhere, and then rode for hours or days, like, do you know what I mean? And then got off the boat, killed a lot of people, raped a few bitches, and then got all the gold and silver, and then went back to his missus and kids, and was like, "My love, I have returned with riches." Like I wouldn't be surprised, because like I have that in me, like, do you know what I mean? But that, like, I'm not saying it's just me, you know. I'm not saying I'm special. It's like a lot of guys are like that, but a lot of guys aren't. A lot of guys are just meek. Not meek. I like meek. Meek is a good thing, not meek. A lot of guys are just like weak, passive aggressive, cowardly, shy, timid, you know, stuff like that. Like I think like it's a combo, you know. It's like, it's so relatable to role playing games, where it's like you essentially get born with stats, you know. It's like, you're this tall, you're this color, your dick's this big, fuck it, you know, and you don't get to pick any of that, you know, but you get to pick stuff throughout life, you know. But like you just hit random and get loaded in, and you're like, okay, you're my parents, I live here, I speak this language and all, and then it takes like 25 years for you to become like totally aware of your situation in this reality, and you're like, okay, so I'm Russian and I'm white, but I look a little bit Asian, and I'm like, you know, it's so fucked up that like we all just like don't get along. But it's not at the same time. It's like, it's really easy for me, like, it's really obvious to me now how people just like, you have all these like cunts in the world who know the reality of the situation, who know how the game works, and their sole purpose, their sole desire for their life is to just fuck with the game. Because you see people, there's people like that in video game culture who don't care about the rules of the game, and the reason they don't care about the rules of the game is because they don't care about the enjoyment and the joy and the sharing of an experience like other players do, where it's like, oh, I love playing this game with other people, this is a really fun game. What they want is, what they get off on, what they enjoy is other people freaking out at the stuff they do in the game, you know, which I'm basically talking about trolls, but it's like more of a more expanded version of a troll. It's actually like a type of person. Do you know what I mean? Where it's not just troll behavior, it's like a energetic vampire behavior. You know? And I believe in that shit. I believe there are people, like, I believe there's people who do it intentionally, and I believe there's people who do it unintentionally. Where you could just be around these people and they just suck the fucking life out of you. And there's people who don't do it on purpose, and people who know what they're doing and they do it on purpose. And I totally have empathy, you know, and sympathy and compassion for the people who don't know that they're doing it, you know. Especially if you can explain it to them and they're like, oh, sorry, shit, like, I'll change my ways. And they actually do change their ways. But, like, the people who know what they're doing, you know, I completely agree with Owen on that shit. It was like, if it's so much worse when you know what you're doing and you do it anyway, you know. It's like, you motherfucker. I am good, true, and I used to be beautiful. I'm sure you're still beautiful. What age are you? Like 50, 60? You're probably still, like, attractive, you know? You've to really fuck yourself up with, like, drink or drugs or something, like, you know, car accident, you know, wrestling with your lawnmower on a random Tuesday. Like, you have to really fuck yourself up to, like, destroy your natural beauty, you know? I think I look nearly better now than I used to, but, like, sometimes, like, if I sort out the dark circles under my eyes and I actually, like, put some weight on and, like, get some decent sleep and stay hydrated, I'll look much better. But I still have that, like, stoic Chad fucking, I could go on a coin look, you know? I have, like, a perfect nose. Like, is it like, I like, because I grew up getting bullied, like, being a ginge and shit like that, like, I have that element of my personality where I will just, like, intentionally be overconfident. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm, like, a high 6 or a 7 in terms of, like, looks. Personality wise, I'm a fucking 10. But, like, I don't like it in other people when they're, like, too shy or modest, you know? I'm like, come on, like, be you, be the fullest version of you. And they're like, oh no, you know, I don't want to fucking rub shoulders or elbows with people, like, you know, and shit like that. Like, I think that's bullshit. Like, you should be the most you can be. It's the way that God made you, you know? Like, God made you to do something, so fucking do it to, like, the nth degree. And, like, a lot of people are just like, oh, you know, I think, like, what is it? Like, fucking, yeah, not meekness, fucking timid. You know, fucking afraid. Yeah. People who are afraid of their potential and shit, like, I'm not afraid of my potential. I get fucking stressed out about my potential sometimes. I'm like, I could do this and I could do this and I could do this and I could make so much money, and I go, oh yeah, well, you still have to do it. It's like, fuck. Like, I get, like, analysis paralysis and, like, fucking choice paralysis and stuff, because I'm like, okay, I could literally do, like, I can do whatever the fuck I want to do. And then you're like, okay, so what am I gonna do then? Like, that's my problem a lot of the time. Like, I could design toys, I could make up a cartoon series, I could do fucking, you know, okay, so what am I gonna do? Well, I have to do something. Like, that's why I've had to boil it down to just, like, symmetricals. Okay, people like symmetricals. I like doing them, people like them. That's good. Right. What else? Oh yeah, speaking of, shout out to Budbear. These arrived today. And I was like a giddy little schoolgirl or something, like, when I realized what it was. So a few weeks ago, I asked Budbear, could he do me some stickers? So he threw a few of these in, right? The Pumpy the Bear, only you can prevent sodomy. I fucking loved, like, so funny, so fucking funny. Pumpy the Bear, only you can prevent sodomy. Like, I love that. So funny. That's definitely going on the wall somewhere, and there's two of them, so that's awesome. But yeah, he did stickers, and they're beautiful vinyl. They feel gorgeous, beautiful vinyl. The color's a little bit faded, but that's probably because the file I sent him. I don't know if it's his his printer, or whatever. It's the colors are a little bit off, but they're brilliant. They're the perfect size. Check that out. So we got my retarded chicken, my derpy looking dead eyed chicken. I love him. I want like a plush toy of this thing. I want a cuddly toy of this like brain dead looking chicken. And then we got Hugh, who was one of my first characters. This is like when I first started painting to try and make a living out of this. The Hugh here, pardon me, there was a fly on my forearm. Was one of the first things that I made, and it was kind of like a. He's basically a metaphor for me, where like I was going through this like internal conflict of like I want to be good even though I feel like I'm bad when I was like in my suicidal phase and stuff. So it's almost like, you know, I thought it was endearing, you know, like the idea of like what if a demon like chose to be an angel and like picked up a halo off a dead angel or something and like tied a string to it and was like, I'm gonna be an angel now. Like, you know, and tried to like it'd be a really cute, like endearing cartoon series for like a baby demon who like chooses to be an angel and tries to grow up as an angel and all, like, you know, and then all the demons are telling him that it's pointless and that he's a fucking, you know, betraying Satan and he's a disgrace to demons and all this stuff and all, like, whereas the angels are like, come on buddy, you know, like, you can do it, like the halo will stick on eventually, like, or something, like, you know. He like talks to God and he's like, you know, it's been 1,000 years since a demon like you has arrived or something. I don't know, like it's totally like conceptual, like, you know. Are there no like biblical stories of like, you know, whether it's Abrahamic or like, you know, another religion, there has to be Indian stuff like that, where like a bad jinn or a, like, you know, an evil entity or spirit just decides one day as like, you know what, fuck it, I'm sick of being evil. You know, like I'm sick of being the bad guys. But yeah, shout out to Budbear. I'm delighted with them. So anytime from now on, at least for like until I run out with them and I need to get more, you'll get a little chicken sticker and a little sticker of Hugh. If you like, you know, commission a painting, or if you, I suppose you won't get, or like you'll only get it if it's from me, you know, which I suppose is kind of shit. Because like I sell stuff on Spring and then I sell stuff on Etsy. So like, well, no, you'll get it if you order off Etsy, because I like the stuff on Etsy I have here and I'll have to send to you. So that's okay, you know. So it's basically for people who buy paintings off me or commission anything. When I send you the package, you'll get little stickers with it and stuff like that. Like, and I always put a note in too. All of the movies I mentioned are on Plex. Of course they are. Oh, of course they are. Pruning the social tree is great, especially after recent years' varied madnesses. Yeah, totally. Yeah, like it was just that time. It was my time, you know. A lot of things culminated. A lot of things happened very quickly. Like my fucking grandparents died on my dad's side. I was having suicidal fucking thoughts. My relationship with the female was like very tumultuous, chaotic, turbulent, whatever you want to fucking call it. My relationship with my my relationship with my family was tumultuous. And in the space of about 6 months, I managed to turn most of it, if not all of it, around, you know. And like I'd say, a lot of people are like me, you know. There's a lot, like I can imagine from my own experience, like a lot of people, you don't really make a move in life or like sort something out until you have to, you know, because you're kind of lazy and you're not really arsed and stuff like that. And your motivations are in other places. But because like that's how it worked with my teeth. Like, you know, the only time I started looking after my teeth it was when I started to lose teeth and experience insane nerve pain. So it's like that's what I like: struggle, pain, darkness, you know, fear, all like those things inspire action and change. You know, there really is something to like wheat from chaff and like stressing people in an attempt to like make them better. But yeah, you could totally argue that like the way other people go about it or the way life just happens to you in general is like it stresses you way too much and people break or they get damaged and they turn evil, you know. But 'tis life. I think it's all just like a reality of life now, you know. I think women with a beautiful personality can shine through their outward appearance. So many of these IG women have physical beauty, but they look like demons. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but if you're fat, you're fat. You know what I mean? Like, being fat's bad. Being fat's like being an alcoholic, you know? And you know what I'm talking about when fat. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've said this before. There's a big difference between those, like, chunky, curvy bitches who, like, you know, can get away with, like, their curves and, like, they're, like... You have these women who look like just slightly inflated or blown up, and they're still, like, gorgeous, you know? But if you're fat, you're fat, you know. And then of course there's stuff that like, you know, accidents, birth defects, stuff like that. Like I'm totally up for, like, I do believe in, like, you know, where you can fall in love with a person just from their like personality and stuff like that. But like, I'm not quite sure. I'm kind of a eugenicist in that sense, where I'm like, sure, you guys care about each other a lot, but should you really breed? You know? Like, you're probably better off. It's like you and society are probably better off with you breeding with someone who's, like, better for breeding with, like. Because there is a reality to, like, the frivolous breeding that we do. A lot of bad shit comes from it, you know? It's not like every child that is born is destined to be fucking an awesome person, you know? Because like I said, free will exists. How many people have done exactly what Owen has done, or what, like, you know, Tom Barnett has done, or Chris Gardner throughout history, and just one of their kids just turns out to be a dick? Do you know what I mean? Because it's the same with the Rothschilds. It's like you end up with a Rothschild that's just like, oh, I don't want to fuck people over and like own everything. I just want to farm and be a cowboy or some shit. Wasn't it Gary Rothschild? Like, it goes both ways. You could do everything right, and your son turns out to be a murdering psychopath, like, because he's on his own journey. You know, everybody's on their own journey. No matter how much you help someone, no matter like what you provide for them and shit like that, like, it'll only have an influence and an effect to a point. At the end of the day, they are them inside their mind and their body and all, and they're gonna make their choices for whatever reason they rationalize. But that's not to say that you shouldn't, you know, do your best, you know? Because I hate that mentality of like, well, it doesn't matter what I do, they're going to end up doing anything anyway. Like, you know, it's like, no, you should still try, but don't foolishly think that just because you try, that everything's going to work out for the best, you know? It's like, it is good to try, but like, you still need to, like, if shit goes bad, that means that what God wants you to do is deal with that bad shit as best you can, you know? Like, that's what I think everything is. I think everything is a personal test, you know? How are you going to deal with this? How are you going to deal with that? How are you going to deal with this? How are you going to deal with that? And I've felt that in my life, where like, you're in a situation and like you deal with it badly, and then you look back and you're like, oh man, if I'd have dealt with that better, like, this probably would have happened, you know? And vice versa. Man, if I hadn't have dealt with that the way I dealt with it, it would have been way worse. You know, like... Okay. Let's do some work on this raspberry kaiju, shall we? Who's inflicting all sorts of wanton destruction on the beautiful was gonna say town or village. It's basically a fucking city that's like in this valley. Got some flowers beneath it. Castle still needs a little bit of work, you know. But then again, I'm looking at it up close, so I can like see all the horrible fucking, you know, like, and it's not like it's perfect when you look at it on the screen anyway. Like, that's why so many of the she bears are truly beautiful, have beautiful souls, no fakeness or innuendo. Yeah, like you're totally right. There's like definitely an element of truth to that, where like, a woman can be like not like very physically attractive, but because she's like so friendly and smiley and like has a sense of humor and like has a really good loving energy and stuff like that, it almost like it's like you perceive her as being more physically attractive and beautiful than she actually is, you know. I've experienced that before, where like you'll meet someone new and you'll be like, oof, you hit a couple of branches on the ugly tree on the way down, didn't you? Oh, you poor bitch. And then you get to know her and you're like, like, I remember, like, I've had thoughts like that where I'm like initially I thought you were kind of ugly, but now I'm like, I kind of want to bang you, you know, like I've experienced that, like, you know. So that's totally true, where like you meet someone, like, first impression you're like, yeah, she seems like a nice girl, but oof, like, she's not great looking, like, and then after a while you're kind of like, maybe I was wrong, you know, like that's how I know I'm not actually shallow, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I've literally experienced that, like, yeah, stickers are awesome. Shout out to Budbear. I Rove the chicken idea. Nova would rove another chew toy. I'm not gonna make a fucking cuddly toy chicken just for your dog to rip it to shreds. How dare you? I'll make a rubber one. We'll get a rubber one made just for Novagene to like rip to shreds. But I want, like, I used to have loads of cuddly toys when I was younger. Like, I literally want a fucking like big fat retarded looking chicken to just use as like a pillow. I'm still a big baby in that way. Like, I love like cuddly toys and stuff. Like, I need to get a dog, but we can't get one while we're here. It's just not safe, you know. Very awkward as well. It's not safe and very awkward. But I'd love a cat or a puppy or something, like, you know. It's just because I grew up with a dog, so it's been missing from my life, where you just have that like furry creature that you can cuddle now and again, or like it comes to you looking for cuddles, like you know, fucking every morning when I used to go down to the kitchen, every morning Casey would just be like asleep on our bed, and sometimes she'd lift her head up and turn around and look at you, but then most of the time her head would be like near you, and she just like look at you upside down and flop her head back. And the tail would start going and all. Like, that's one of the most endearing things about a dog, is like when they, like, you know, you come in and go, hey, and like the tail just starts going mad, like, and you just like, I fucking miss it, man. It's like it definitely does. It elevates your mood and like it like fuels your soul to be around that kind of energy. Which is, I get it. I understand why people have children, you know. Because like you have this human being with their own personality and shit like that you made with somebody else, who just like puts their hands out and looks at you and is like, daddy, you know, like, and do you know what I mean? It's that sense of like, she's not gonna do that to like anyone else, you know. You are her carer, like, and creator, co-creator, you know. I get it, like, I totally get it, and I'm probably gonna cry my eyes out when I have kids. Because I have that element to me where, like, I've said this before, where, like, I'm genuine joy was, like, foreign to me. Like, which is fucked up. Like, but I think a lot of people are like that. I think a lot of people around the realm right now are like literally oblivious to what genuine joy feels like consistently and shit. Like when the lads, when the bear, when a few of the bears like came over for my birthday last year, I haven't felt like that in a long time. When I sold that painting for 450 to your man in France, that was an unbelievable feeling. The first time I sold a painting, that was an unbelievable feeling. Just before I left, my mum's house to come live here with the female, changing everything around and like regularly having meals with them, her and my sister, in the evening, and like watching movies and stuff like that, and her seeing me like produce the art and then people buy it, so she was finally happy that like I wasn't just like in between jobs or something all like that. Like that brought me genuine joy. When Bravey Bear gave me the fucking tomatoes, and I put them out the back garden, and they started to grow tomatoes, felt genuine joy. Then my ma let them die when I left. Genuine hatred. Not hatred, anger. Oh Jesus! This just came up on Facebook because I'm a part of the place I used to live in was called Lucan, and I'm a part of a Facebook group called Lucan Living, even though I'm not there anymore. But fucking holy shit! Like this is intense. Somebody just loaded this up. Somebody just posted this on the. It's like a community thing, like To the person who knocked over my son today in your black BMW and never even stopped, I wish you nothing but bad karma and the worst luck. Luckily, he only bruised ribs and sore wrist on the Lucan to Clone Road around 10 a.m. What a fucking cunt. Jesus. That happened to me. I didn't thankfully I wasn't hurt, and partially it was my own fault because the brakes on my bicycle at the time weren't working, and I didn't know, so it was like kind of my fault but not really. But I came down an incline on my bicycle when I was younger, and a car came out of left field. But I was moving quite slowly, and you could see that I was trying to use the brakes, and then was like, oh shit, and tried to turn when I realized the brakes weren't gonna go. So the fact that they just kept driving and drove in, and they didn't hit me, they stopped and braked as they hit me. So thankfully I just got a little shove or whatever. I didn't even fall over. But I've had that moment where I'm looking at the person driving, and I'm I'm the one on the bicycle. You're driving a big hunk of metal, and your brakes are working. Why didn't you just hit the fucking brakes? What the fuck? I see that a lot where people who are people are in a car and they're driving and all, they forget what they're actually doing. You're moving a big hunk of metal around at anywhere from 30 to fucking 80 miles an hour. Be fucking responsible. Drive carefully. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. I'll never forget that time. Me and four of my friends were in the car with me ma. She picked us up from a gaff party, I think, and was taking us home. And me ma wasn't paying attention and went to take a turn off the motorway, and she cleaved an old man out of it in this silver Yaris or something. And my man was in a Honda Civic at the time, so a much heftier, much longer car, and smacked into him because she didn't see him coming up behind on this side of her, and she just went to take the exit and smacked him out of it, put it Like she hit him so hard that her passenger car got crushed to the point where it wouldn't open when we fucking pulled in later. Like that's how hard she hit him. Like, and I'll never forget it because like this is me ma and a bunch of teenagers in the car, right? And I'm in the passenger, and we're just all talking. And then the next thing, she just went to turn, and I just see this car appear on my window, and then boom, and I'm like, Mom, what the fuck? And she was like, I'm so sorry. And she just kept driving. We were all like, pull over, you're after hitting that old man and all. And like, we looked back, and this old man was like pulled over, getting out of his car, like, what the fuck? And she just like had her hands on the wheel, and she was like, I'm so fucked, and just kept driving. And like pulled over in a Tesco down the road. Like in the car park in a Tesco down the road, like. And like we were all like, what the fuck, like you should have pulled over, like what the fuck, you hit it, like it's a bit late now, like what the fuck, like. And she was just like panicking, she was like, oh my god, what the fuck and all, like. And then my mate got out of it. I went to get out of the car and realised my door wouldn't open. And I was like, oh shit, Mum, my door won't open. And she was like, oh no, what the fuck? And my friend got out of the car and went around the other side of the car. So he's like, you can see him out the window of my passenger window now. And he stood there. He did this intentionally because it wasn't as bad as it actually was. But when he got around to my side of the car, he went like, like, you know, made it out as if the car was destroyed, like, you know. So she started freaking immediately, like, and got out. And he was like, it's not that bad. It's fucking hilarious. Oh, so funny, like. And then, like, I eventually convinced her. I was like, we have to go down to the guard station and, like, say that happened, like, you know. And like, she was so scared. She thought she was going to get in trouble, like, you know. It was so funny, like. I was like, it is your fault, like, you weren't looking, like take responsibility. And she's like, no. Like, oh, it was hilarious. Like a teenage son brought his grown mother, to the police station so she could report herself for crashing into someone. Like, and then nobody ever reported her. Nothing ever happened. You know, I'm assuming because the old man was incapable of getting her reg at the time. But like, it was so fucking funny. I didn't let that go for months. I was like, you nearly killed an old man on the road. Don't you tell me what to do. Like, there's a few times that happened in my life where my mad did something so utterly fucking irresponsible and stupid that I just had free reign to turn around and be like, you can't tell me what to do. You're a failure of a human being. You know, like, you're a disgrace. You're a failure as a mother. You're a failure as a person. You're a failure as a woman. You can't direct me. You have no authority over me. Be gone from me, female. You know, like, do you imagine your 19-year-old son just like, even before, was it before that? I think it was like 17. 17 year. It happened with both my parents, where I just looked them dead in the eye and was like, you have no power over me. You fucking failure. You know, like, because of the standard I was held to, you know. I was held to this standard. And then realised what they were like as like real people, not just my parents. And I was just like, fuck you people. You want me to try hard at life when you're like this? You fucking hypocrites. Like, oh god, it's just funny. Our fat cat Bandit, Bandit's the fat one. Our fat cat Bandit puts me to sleep when he lays in my chest. He even knows when it's bedtime. Adorable little fat ass. Man, I probably said this before. I don't know if you've heard this before. I've definitely said this on stream before because I was like, no way. There's like good evidence. There's like good evidence that cats purring in your vicinity, the vibrations, it's like it can like heal bones and shit. It's like a healing vibration, and I'd well believe it because like there's something about a cat purring when it's like touching you. It's so calming. it's such a nice experience, like, you know, when the cat's like rubbing up against you and all, like, and just purring and shit, and you're just like, oh yeah, this is awesome. You know, like, how weird is that? Like, man, like domestic cats are, there's some gravy there. There's some weird, like, genetic alteration magic gravy when it comes to domesticated cats. Weird shit going on. Like, I wouldn't, like, I totally get why the Egyptians thought they were like the fucking the guardians of the underworld and shit, like that they were connected to the realm of the dead and shit. Like, I totally get why they're like that. Yeah, my kids are begging for a dog, but we can't have one where we are right now. Gonna happen when we move. Yeah, it's a great thing for kids. It's a great thing. Like, it's also a great thing for a pup. I think dogs who grow up with kids are way better dogs. I have a particular disdain for Tesla drivers. They are the worst. Speed everywhere, don't lane check. Their cars are all dinged to hell. Jesus Christ. And do you think that's because a lot of them use the autopilot? Do you think that's what it is? Because, like, don't Teslas, like, have the ability to, like, drive themselves using GPS and shit? Do you think they just stick the autopilot on and just, like, you know, oh, the car will get me there, and then, like, shit happens and they're, like, you know, watching porn or something so they don't react? Like, I can imagine that's what it is. Or is it just the really expensive Teslas that can drive themselves? Like, because I could have wasn't that the whole point of a Tesla? Was like, all you had to do was recharge it, and then it will just drive you to your destination because it's like all this like amazing tech and shit. Like, I thought that was the point, you know? It wasn't just that they were like electric or green or whatever. Like, it was the fact that they were like powered by an AI that would allow you to, like, it could park itself, you know, all these like perks and stuff. There are a dozen car charging stations at my local market, all empty all the time. I know, we have that here in Tipperary in Ireland. Like, how fucked up is that? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, in a fairly rural town in Ireland, we have car charging things that, like, you never see anyone fucking use. But we've homeless people. Like, when you fucking put some, like, facts beside other facts in today's timeline, you're just like, how did this come to be? How have you got homeless people but free porn? Like, what's going on? like it's just, how have you got the infrastructure for this and the money for that, but this guy's like living under a bridge? Like, to make it make sense, people. Like, but it does make sense, you know. Unfortunately, I think there is, I think we live in a time that is more bad than good, but it's for a purpose, you know. I think we're currently living in one of those end of cycles, end of an empire things, where, like, you do need to appreciate the little things in life because everything has become so unbalanced in, like, how people value things, like, you know. Like, a bottle of water that's worth 350 grand or something shouldn't exist. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, nobody anywhere should be charging, like, $11 for a bottle of water just because you're on, like, a first class flight to, like, Switzerland or some shit. Like, you know, like, there's certain things that just shouldn't be, but they are because of the state of humanity, like, you know. It's fucking mad, like. Nah, it's the fact that they have the power and torque of a supercar in a compact car. You have people going from 140 HP Corolla to a 400 HP, 600 pound feet of torque vehicle. That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't know that at all. So Teslas are actually, like, really strong. It definitely appears to be a mix of end stage Rome meets USSR post collapse. Yeah, like, we've got this mixed bag of, like, Bitcoin bros fucking with 10 Lambos in a fucking mansion that could, like, hold 150 people, and then you've got like Indian dudes shitting in the street. Like, I mean, never mind Indian dudes shitting in the street. Like, one of the most horrifying things I ever saw in the last few years. I think it was like ballpark 4 or 5 years ago. One of the worst things I ever seen. To date, was a woman just giving birth in the middle of a street. And I think it was somewhere in India. It might have been Malaysia or something like. But it was just I can't remember where I seen this clip or somebody sent it to me. But a woman just standing up in the middle of like a filthy. It looked Indian. Like, you know when you see those like absolutely filthy Indian streets, just loads of shops, loads of people around, cars everywhere, shit on the fucking ground, rubbish everywhere. It looks wet and hot, you know? And it looks like it stinks. And this fucking lunatic of a female just gives birth to a baby, and the baby looked blue. I was just like, what the fuck? And like it just drops out of her. She doesn't even catch it. Like she picks it up afterwards. So she was either like on drugs or, you know, mentally damaged or something, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and it was just one of those things I saw and I was like, I can't believe that is real. I can't believe I just witnessed that. Like, imagine being that poor baby, you know? Like that woman, that child should be taken off her and she should probably just be executed. To fall to such a state that you're pregnant and about to give birth, and like that's just it was horrifying to me, just witnessing this woman just like you'd swear she was just taking a shit, you know? She just squats. Not even, she didn't even squat, she kind of just like stood with her legs apart, and then boom, fucking Smurf just drops out of her. Like the baby was blue, like, you know, which made it even worse. I was kind of just like, Jesus, did you just like, is that a stillbirth? Like, what the fuck? Like, that's holy shit. And you can see people just walking past her. People just walking past her. People like, oh, there's another one. Like, fuck, like. So like people really don't know how bad things can get until they get that bad, like, you know. And then they're always like, well, how did we get here? Fucking idiots. Anyway, let's do some Paintingu. Stick on some tunes. I'm assuming the females are still here, so I won't stick on anything too heavy. Might just go with, yeah, I think I might just go with this.
Your favorite game is becoming better.
How do you know my favorite game is? You fumptuous dickhead. Oh, that's not the right one. Where's the other one? I know what the other one sounds like. I couldn't remember. What is it? Oh yeah, it's this one. Okay. I like this one. It's like, it's got more pace and it's a bit more it's got a bit more pace than the Dancing with Demons one that you know, paint, you know. It's a bit quicker because I think the paint one can kind of like, it nearly puts me to sleep sometimes. I'd be sitting here going paint, and then there's like a section of that playlist that gets like real chill, and then I'm just like, oh, I'm kind of falling asleep. Like, yeah, man, like the stories people say about China. From what I've seen, oh, glorious people. From what I've seen, China is like a fucking dystopian hellscape, like. Ugh. What do we got? I want to check how much I have left in this. starting to run a bit low. Gonna need to get more paint. Always just need like a shit ton of white and a shit ton of black. The rest of them you can get like, you know, smaller things in. But like you always need a shit ton of white and a shit ton of black. And I had it good for a while when I first started painting. I was still on like social welfare. So I just, instead of spending my money on weed, I started spending my money on paint, and it was cheaper. at least for a time, anyway. Quickly became very expensive. But yeah, for a while I had it all right because I could pick up like half a liter of opaque acrylic white for like 30 quid, you know, and it was glorious. We'll get there. We'll get there. I'm gonna get to a stage where like buying a liter of really high quality. I'm gonna get to a stage where people are just giving me shit like that, you know? Because like I wouldn't mind being sponsored by like a fucking paint company. Do you know what I mean? Unless of course I found out that they were like ideologically driven or some shit. Like, do you know what I mean? But like I can't imagine like Pebio Studios fucking, you know, like that's not the kind of promo code that like I think is like negative, like, do you know what I mean? I'm just like being supported by a paint company. So like if anyone ever, if something like that ever turned around, it was like, oh, we like painting you, we think it's funny and we like what you do with the paintings and stuff like that, why don't you use our paint? Oh man, if Nicker turned around and said that to me one day, oh my god, I'd take that up immediately. Because that's one thing that like when I have the money, I am, oh my god, I'm buying myself like a box of those paints. Oh my god, like they look so good. You can't beat the fucking Japs, man, when it comes to like art stuff. You just can't. They're masters at it, like. China is like Mexico if it invested all points into technological advancement. Yeah. Yeah, like they have a lot of advantages in a way, like the government.
Dive into 888 Casino.
How about you dive off a fucking cliff and leave painting you alone? Get the fuck off my stream. Yeah, China has like the economic advantage and like the industrial advantage, at least for the moment. You know, and the West was stupid enough to put them there. Like, they wouldn't be in the position they're in if the West wasn't stupid enough to be like, yeah, we'll just get you to build everything. You're like, how could that go wrong? Like, we'll just get the Asians to build everything. Like, fucking retards, like. Oh my god, like, whatever. Gonna go with a combination of like light grays and I think beige, because I don't want the guns to blend in with the buildings, you know. So I might make it, and it'd work because it's Germany. So like I think I'm gonna go with like trying to make it look like you know, tiled roofs and like beige and shit. but we'll see how it goes. Tiny bit of red in here. Currently we have like a pale lemon yellow. That is not beige. Go. Am I the only one that thinks it's kind of crazy that I can literally fit painting goo into like every song that I fucking play? Like, even a little bit. Like, it's like, it is kind of like painting goo is just designed to like fit into every single song imaginable. Like, Joe Gagadoo! Welcome to Paintingu. You honor us with your presence, Elder One. There we go. Now we're starting to get a bit beigey. The one time I don't need flesh color, and I think I made one of the best flesh tones. Typical. What's this? An advertisement? How dare you into painting Google. Painting Google. I can't remember where we were, but there was a place, I think it was like a Middle Eastern place we went to like a few painting goos ago, and I spent like 3 episodes doing the fucking buildings in the village. That's one of the aspects to art that I actually really enjoy, is like getting lost in something for hours and just doing like repetitive details and stuff. It's one of the things I like about my symmetricals, is like if I put a pattern in an area, because they're symmetrical, I have to do it like here, and then I have to do the exact same thing there, you know? And it's like, sometimes that's what happened earlier on. I looked at my phone and I was like, oh my god, I have to do painting in 15 minutes, because like I just spent the last like hour and a half or so just like lost in doing the new symmetrical. Like, actually, you'd probably be able to see most of it if... Okay, hold on. My apologies, guys. Nah, yeah, you can't really see it. Yeah. It is basically, it's only the line work, so you can't really see it. You guys might be able to see it. Your screen will be a little bit bigger if it's on your phone or your laptop or something like. But I'll put up an image later on Instagram anyway. I have a feeling this one's going to be quite good. I'm going for like kind of an alien bug kind of thing. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's coming along nicely. Right, I'm definitely finishing at 5, because female is going to come back for some food. Painting go, 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 go. Painting go, 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 go. Painting go, 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 go. Oh, Gepu. Buildings here are roughly this size. I'm gonna have to like scale them as it goes back, you know, which I kind of have already, but I'm at that stage, I think, in my like ability as an artist, where like some of my best work with this stuff, you know, because like people are like, oh, that castle looks cool and all. It's like, up close it's fairly shit looking, like, you know, but on a screen, because the resolution is smaller, the details like matter more and shit, like, you know. So like I'm at that stage now where I can like make something vague looking, and like you can like kind of capture the essence of something, and you'd be like, oh, that looks deadly, but if I try to make it better looking, I'll actually make it worse looking, you know, especially with watercolor. I've noticed that like if I keep things a bit vague, or simplified even, they actually turn out much better than me trying to be like, okay, it needs to be good looking.
Some say the captain eats the cold for breakfast to bring you,
which is good for me because I like working quickly, you know. Great conversation. Plane Runner is an inspiring man, a good friend I've never met in person. He was really good last night. I think you'll enjoy the replay. Plane Runner, awesome. I don't catch hanging with bears enough, but they're usually very, they can be informative, entertaining, just good background stuff. I remember watching the one with Toronto Jew Bear and Copper Bear. Copper Bear seems like a really nice lady. Hey, go, 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 go. $15. 15 minutes is all I have to play with you. If anybody gets that Resident Evil reference, we could be friends. Oh, Demon Hunter, have you played Dying Light at all? The female's not going to be here this weekend. She's babysitting for her mother. So, I can afford to game for quite a while with you and Sonia this weekend. And, does she like Dying Light? I've seen that she's been playing it. Please tell me that she likes Dying Light. If she doesn't like it, I'll be so disappointed. You haven't played it yet? I kinda like that. I wanna like fucking, if I'm there for your genuine first reaction to it, I think it'd be deadly. Man, you're gonna love it. I know you're gonna love it. Anybody who is into like first-person shooters, action games, zombie games, like any of that shit, like it's all three of them, and it's one of the best of all three. I know you're gonna love it. I'm pretty sure she fucking loves it. She finds the game spooky and doesn't want to go on alone. Awesome! That's one of my favorite aspects of it, is it's genuinely terrifying. Wait till you try and play it at night, man. Like, so, in Dying Light, the reason it's called Dying Light, as far as I remember, is because during the day, it's like, it can be difficult, but it's like fairly doable, like, you know, but at night, the zombies that come out at night, they're like armored, and they're like fucking like they're like the things out of I Am Legend. They're like on steroids, and they're like really quick, and they're vicious and shit, and there's like loads of them. So if you go out at night in Dying Light and you make like too much noise, or like these things are just walking around and all in packs and shit, like, so you have to avoid them, and like you have to turn your light off because the light will attract their attention and shit. Like, oh man, you're gonna love it. Like, it's so much more like, it's what DayZ wants to be. Do you know what I mean? And like more and better. Like, if you, me, and Sonia are gonna be like, you know, shit, like, she's gonna fucking love it, man. There's like loads of the aspects, if not most of that DayZ in Dying Light, where like lots of going around, lots of searching, you know, rummaging through items and like investigating places, and there's like bosses, there's mini bosses, there's the story, and then there's like all the extra shit, then there's the DLC. Like, it's fucking, the next few weeks of gaming are going to be excellent quality, I assure you. Plus I've beaten the game like fucking 3 or 4 times, so like I know most of the shit and all. Like, painting, go, 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 go. Keep an eye on the time. It's already starting to look like a little town. Awesome. raspberries dry though, so I could quickly, at 10 minutes, I could quickly make him look a bit better looking. I'm very much looking forward to playing with you. Yeah, same. I can't wait to, especially if you haven't played it yet, so you don't really know what you're in for. It's gonna be awesome, like seeing and hearing your reaction to all the stuff. Like, oh, that's cool, man. Fucking Budbear's awesome. You saying that I don't owe him anything for the stickers? What a legend, man. The people in the bear community are so fucking cool. No wonder I ended up here. It just seems like the shit I do for people, you know, gets done back to me, like, where, like, I'm not used to that a lot of the time in my life. Like, I feel like you do shit for people, like, before, and then, like, it just feels like a waste, like, you know? We need a bear game stream to be a thing. Man, yeah, like, I'm on it. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna get that camera. I'm gonna get that camera that you linked me to. I'm sure that would be a higher quality camera. I don't know what's the crack with, like I said before, will I have to stream on the laptop, or will I be able to use the laptop and you know, streaming software to stream from the PlayStation, or so, like, that will severely limit the games that I can stream and shit, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'd totally be down for that. I always wanted to be a streamer to some degree. Well, not always. Ever since I started watching people stream games, I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. Like, my original. That's why there's if you look at my videos on YouTube, there's actually a few. There's like 7 hours of me, like, playing Dark Souls or something. Because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to record myself or stream myself playing all the video games I have beginning with D. So it's like Defenderoo plays Devil May Cry, Defenderoo plays Dark Souls, Defenderoo plays Dead Cells, Defenderoo plays Dead Space, Defender plays, like, I just thought that would have been a funny way to start it, like. I haven't forgotten that Dick Ford said it'd be really funny if I put a cowboy hat on this thing. I'm putting a cowboy hat and shades on it. Just in case anybody was like, I thought you said you were going to put a cowboy hat on the raspberry.
Now there's a simple and sustainable.
Now you can get the fuck away from me. Now. Okay, I've got 6 minutes to make some brown and give him a cowboy hat. I can do this. I gotta get you guys to join the PC Master Race. Yeah, man, I can't wait to have the funds to start buying the parts to build a proper tower. Because there's just nothing that, like, there's no the comparison, like, it's almost not comparative. Like, you know, like, the difference between having a gaming laptop and a gaming PC is, like, monumental, you know. And it would be really nice to have, like, a, you know, streamlined, liquid cool, fucking, you know, proper bit of like, you know, solid state hard drives and all this thing, like where it could literally run any video game I throw at it like on its fucking head for the next 5 years. But that's unfortunately the case with stuff like that, where like every couple of years you're gonna need to update your equipment and your software and shit like that. Like, but that's why it's been easier the last couple of decades. It's like, oh, just buy a new games console, you know. Whereas like all PC players are like, okay, time to go online and fucking find a load of new gear, like, and upgrade this bit. I do have a decent gaming laptop, but I only have one friend to play stuff with. That's like that's the only thing, is like I, you know, like when I cleared out my social ring, not completely, but like I really did miss gaming with the lads. I still do. You know, I've been gaming with you and Sonia recently. And that's one of the things, like, it kind of reminded me of how much I miss that shit. Like, it's so cathartic and such an enjoyable experience to be able to just hop online and like play something with your friends and all, and the shit that happens depending on the game you're playing and stuff, like, you know. Somebody has a paid for painting goo. Glorious. Rant McGoo says, paint goo, rife good. Game, rant, crush. I love that. Paint goo, rife good. Okay, 2 minutes. And I'll wrap it up, guys. Much more doing Cashel Lichtenstein, but I think the raspberries, the raspberries looking hilarious. So far, so good. Cashel Lichtenstein is looking excellent. So our visit to Germany is already looking like a successful one. Right, my beloved Japanites and all you other filthy mortals. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode of a Painting Good. I will return, same time, same place. 3 PM GMTU. Tomorrow, Friday, you finish the week stronger. So, in the meantime, be good, be true, and be beautiful. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe to Painting Goo. And if you have any honor, you will pay for Painting Goo. Why? Because you've never seen paint dry like this before. Right, I bid thee farewell, and auf Wiedersehen. Sayonara. And I'll see you soon. Much love from all of us here at the Painting Goo Posse. Tobias, say goodbye to the people. Tobias says goodbye. Right. Toodles!